はい。というわけで、オリエント急行殺人事件アンコール編ですね。前回、解決したと思いきや、しかも、一応全員、犯人が十何人いて、9人、12人、いて、それぞれね、理由も、すごい理由だったっていうことで、ポアロも、見なかったことにしましょうみたいな。犯人は、駅から入って駅から降りて、消えたみたいな感じのオチで終わらせようとしたんですけど、実はもう一人いたよみたいな感じで今、どうなることやらって感じですけど、行きましょうか。で、このオリエント急行の旅が終わるまでに、そいつを発見すると。で、コンスタンティンどこにいんだ？
Doctor, a moment. Have you made arrangements for Ratchet's body?
Yes, it will be collected by the Italian authorities when we reach Venice. The autopsy will be performed there. However, there is something odd.
Oh?
Since the train is French, jurisdiction must be shared. When I told them you were already on the scene, they have both agreed to support your investigation until we reach Paris. Ratchet's compartment will be sealed until we arrive there. All of those who conspired to kill Ratchet are to be confined to the train until then as well.
So, thanks to you, I am the rope in a tug-of-war between two countries.
Oh, but I thought you would want to be in charge. And isn't it odd we continue on our journey with a trainload of people that police consider potential murderers?
Calm yourself, Doctor. It is not the first time I find myself in the middle. And to be honest, I welcome the chance to see this case through.
そうですね。
It is fast becoming one of the most challenging of my career. So, my dear book, how does our journey progress?
We are well on our way to Venice. All of our passengers are locked in their rooms by order of the authorities. I watch them when they want to stretch their legs, like the captain there behind you.
I see that you have the situation well in hand.
ベンチ内同行設定言っていいのかな？ちょっと保留しましょうか。普通にロックがいいんじゃない？ヘイスティングスってあれだろう。普通に。
Hello, Monsieur Fauché. Is everything going well?
As well as can be expected. Our stocks of food and drink are running low. An unexpected layover on the mountains and an unexpected murder didn't help. Have you ever noticed that when things get tense, people tend to eat and drink more?
It is curious that, even when they are accused of murder, as much as I learn of human nature,
もうこれあれっすよ
will
ね。
still manage
料理人の
to
中の誰かって感
survive
じですよ
me. At
ね。
least we'll soon be in Venice.
3人目は。
Yes. We'll be able to stock up on enough provisions there. As long as there isn't another murder.
個人的には森を連れてきたいですね、森を。森連れてきんのかな？てか頼んだらこれ、もし、あれか、断るって感じになるのかな？バーテンがちょっと臭いんですけど、ちょっと聞きますか？ちょっと頼んでみようかな、一回。一回セーブしたし、ちょっと一回やってみよう。
I don't suppose you could accompany me for an investigation in Venice.
Me? I am honored you would ask. But Freya Hotaru and I have to reprovision the train. Just agreeing on what we need would take all of our time and energy.
ロック、どうせロックだろうな。
Mademoiselle Locke, you are clearly an excellent police officer. Could you accompany me to Venice for an investigation into Ratchet's activities? There is much we still need.
断る理由ないもんね。
Well, yes, it would be an honor to work with you. And I'm glad you trust me. What do you have in mind?
There was a notation in Ratchet's appointment book. He had an appointment.
With who?
There were only the initials A.W. They were to meet at 10 o'clock at the Fontana dei Conigli. I want to know who Ratchet was meeting and why.
But you've already discovered the 12 conspirators. Why is this meeting important?
Unfortunately, the case is not complete. Dr. Constantine has discovered the presence of a 13th stab wound.
One of them could have stabbed him twice.
The wound was made with another, finer blade. Why would one of them have used 2 knives? Did they want to confess they killed him more than the others? And if so, why bother to deny it when they have already confessed? No, it makes no sense. And I do not close a case until all questions have been answered. You, of all people, must understand this.
You're right. I do understand. I'll help you.
Thank you. Together, we will uncover the truth. We will arrive in a few hours. Take the opportunity to rest.
I slept well last night. No more effects of the drug.
Excellent. Then be prepared when we reach Venice. We have another mystery to solve.
次の謎ね。
This is the 3rd embarking dock, and no gondoliers available at all. With Carnival, you can't find a gondolier to cross that damn canal. They're all booked. The worst thing is that the fountain is just across this canal. We're almost there.
これでも何なんですかね。もうオリエント急行出ちゃいましたけど。
I see a gondolier just over there.
Every carnival, my friends and I mask. And every carnival, we lose one another.
まあちょっとその普通に行きますか。あ、こいつじゃないの。
Hi there. We'd like to cross the canal, please.
There is a bridge about a kilometer down the canal.
Please. According to the map, the Fontana dei Conigli is just across the canal here.
No, I, Gabriele, cannot help you. I'm sorry.
We'll miss the 10 o'clock rendezvous if we try to get through this crowd, and have to walk a kilometer in both directions. Why is he refusing to take us across? He looks upset. I should try to find out why.
金。
If it's a matter of price, I'm sure we can work it out.
Money? Money won't help me now.
His problem isn't money. What is it then? Bella Chiara, the beautiful Chiara. A beautiful name for a beautiful gondola.
なんかこの話って結構打足的な感じなのかな。
I'm sorry you had a fight with Chiara.
What? How did you know?
I'm a detective. I'd like to help, if I can.
If you have a spare engagement ring, detective, I'll take it.
Ah, I see. You lost the engagement ring you were planning to give Chiara?
Lost? It is worse than that. I threw it away in the canal. I bitterly regret this gesture. I now find myself without a girlfriend and without a ring.
この話いる？なんか急にロープレみたいになっちゃったんですけど。いやー、これわからんな。この話マジで必要？
Excuse me. I believe I have something that belongs to you.
Mamma mia, grazie mille, signorina.
Mamma mia,
With this, I
devo
can
dire.
now win my Chiara's heart again. I know it. How to thank you?
My friend and I need to get to the other side. We have a very important date at the Fontana di Conigli.
Ah, yes. The rabbit fountain. Of course, I'll take you across. Then I will call Chiara. Hopefully she will forgive me.
I'm sure she will.
Well done, Detective Locke.
よし。
This district of Venice is very charming. You will love it.
あ、本当に反対岸に行くだけなんですね。これも別にこう入れなくない？ だから本しかもちょっと長いし。
If it's not too much to ask, can you wait for us until we return?
Yes, no worries. I can call Chiara from here to find the fountain, walk along the quay on the left, then cross the bridge and you are there. You cannot miss it.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Signorina. You have made me the happiest gondolier in Venice. Yes, I assure you, I found your ring.
まあじゃあ行きますか。噴水ね。ちょっとマップ無駄に広いし、ここ。噴水あった。
It's 9:55. The right time in the right place. Now AW just needs to show up.
なんでも、
You made me run, Detective Locke. Poirot does not run.
口に出して言わなきゃいいのに。
Wait, sitting down.
あ、猫だ。じゃあまあ、ポアロと待ちますか。
Did you see anyone who could be AW?
No, no one. But who knows what those masks and costumes are hiding?
あ、探すのか。あ、一人でいるやつが怪しい。
I have an appointment with you, don't I?
No, dove la tua maschera?
だから全員パントマイムやってんな。いや、わからん。すいません、もうこれもうあれっす。ちょっと正直めんどくさいんで、ヒント見ます。ホテル入れた？これ開くのか？あ、開いた。
If there's no one to help me, they won't mind if I help myself.
AW。
Nothing but Aziz Wadi. That's the only name that corresponds to the initials AW.
Paziente, non ti ho sentito. Posso aiutarla?
I'm sorry, I don't speak Italian. Do you speak English?
Of course, signorina. How may I bother you?
How? What? Oh, I have an appointment with one of your guests.
What is the name?
I have an appointment with Mr. Aziz Wadi. Do you know if he's here?
Well, unfortunately, he left the hotel this morning. He seemed to be in a hurry, but he left a carta. You are?
まあ、ラチェットって言う
I'm
でしょ。
Mrs. Ratchet.
Mr. Wadi asked me to give the message to the signore, but I suppose this is okay.
なんだこの謎解きは。これすごいめんどくさいっすね。
No need to ring the bell.
So, mademoiselle, was our
この
mysterious AW...
この会う場面、これ
No,
なん
but I
か
managed to get his name.
謎解きに必要する意
And
味
a
あ
letter
る？
he wrote for Ratchet. It seems to be a kind of riddle rhyme.
Let me see. Well, Ratchet and Mr. Wadi must love this book to refer to it so much.
Yes, I think we have to search and find the tracks that this person left for Ratchet to find him.
I think so. Lead the way, Mademoiselle Locke. Do you need help, Detective Locke?
It looks like the writer of this letter is quoting Alice in Wonderland.
No, I think it is a pastiche. Monsieur Carroll was a much better writer than this.
It's a riddle. No, a map.
Both. I think Mr. Wadi was worried their business might be known, and has given Ratchet directions to a new rendezvous point.
うさぎ？
Mr. Wadi's letter mentions a rabbit. The rabbit fountain is an obvious starting point. I believe the letter refers to this place.
帽子。
Have a reference to hats in the letter. Where can we find hats? If we follow the letter, our next landmark will be a cat. A real cat is not likely. Let's try to find a picture or a sign with a cat. A place with playing card soldiers. It sounds like a metaphor. What place could make us think of soldiers?
どう
The last paragraph suggests a door that requires a passcode. If I understand correctly, this code will be made up of numbers that we will find along the way.
これきついな。あ、これ怪しい。ここだ。ここだ。ヒント言います、ヒント。2番目の番号は帽子屋に、3番目のカットバーにあった。どこにあった、そんなの。2番目は警察署に。28469ですね。あ、言いましょう。はい。はい、行きましょう。あいつか。あ、なんか死んでる。
Hey, you. I can't lose them.
何これ何これなんか全然関係何これちょっと待って。こんなの求めてない。すっげえ逃げるな。うわくそ。何やってんのこれ。無音で追ってきますね。やっぱこれ路地がすごいな。
Move over.
やっぱわかんねえ。なんだこれ。
Too many! Too many masks! The murderer could be standing there watching me and laughing.
Yes, Detective Locke?
The murderer got away. I'm coming back. But it looked like he dropped something when he climbed the first wall.
All right, I'll go and see. For my part, unfortunately, I could do nothing for the victim. He was already dead. I have already alerted the Italian authorities. I will see what I can find while I wait for them.
あ、ポアロパートになった。これ、オリエント急行関係あるよ、本当にこれ。あ、メガネだ。
A pair of women's glasses. Was Ratchet
これアームストロング家のメガネじゃないですか。
There must be several tens of thousands of dollars in this bag. The victim was stabbed. Apparently, the method of choice in
なん
this
だこいつ。
case.
まあ上から見ていこう。
A bunch of keys. If, as seems likely, Mr. Wadi is a resident of Geneva, then One of these may belong to his home there.
はい。これ以外にはない。
Various clothes in his suitcase. Mr. Wadi was obviously planning to leave this city.
パスポートみたいなのがあるな。
Mr. Wadi's Swiss passport.
顔出てんじゃん。
I'll see if I can find a match on the internet to confirm his identity.
スイスって言ったっけ？めちゃめちゃ多い。スイザーランド、スイス。お、だいぶ絞れた。
No, 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 not good.
あ、これだ。
I'm right again. That. The victim.
で、ちょっと壁に、そっか、壁を行かないといけないのか。どっちだっけ？ちょっとダッシュができない。そこか。あったあった。これアチェットじゃね？
A false passport with Ratchet's picture. Clark, Ratchet. How many others? Now he will become Enrico Caldo. It appears Ratchet changed his identity as often as his socks.
よし。まあ見直しが金でしょうね。
This direction looks promising.
I'm sorry I couldn't catch the suspect, Mr. Poirot.
There is no need to apologize, mademoiselle. Your efforts were marvelous. I found some information about Mr. Wadi.
Did you access the FBI database?
Don't worry, my little gray cells were enough. However, the database may confirm the origin of these banknotes.
No need. I included them when I continued my investigation.
Excellent.
Hmm? やば。NA。これあるね。
Hey, I'm a pretty good detective after all.
これありそうだね。これじゃない？
Score. One for the good guys.
S。これだ。
That is a great detective job. Mr. Poirot, it's part of the ransom money from the Armstrong case.
You are surprised?
I suppose not. So Ratchet had it in an account at the Banque du Lac.
It would seem so. He knew the serial numbers on the banknotes could be traced, and he could not spend it, so he stashed it there.
But now he's run low, something he didn't count on. He hopes enough time has passed so he can begin to spend the ransom money.
There is something else he didn't count on.
What's that?
He didn't count on you, Detective Locke, and your tenacity.
Thank you. But we are still left with a murderer on the loose.
But we progress. We know Mr. Wadi had an appointment with Ratchet. He had a bag full of money and a passport with Ratchet's photo, but a new name. What is your opinion about the passport?
I discovered that he was arrested in Armenia for trafficking in stolen art and was supposed to be arraigned in January. Once again, he changed his identity and vanished.
You are correct, mademoiselle. He also told me that he was threatened, and that threatening letter we found in his room was real. He had to disappear once again.
ああ、動機は金ではない。
The bag isn't very big. He could have easily run away with it. If he didn't take it, it was deliberate. He wasn't interested in the money. If the motive wasn't money, it leaves passion or revenge for motive.
So, Detective Locke, what do you think? Passion or revenge?
まあ、復讐でしょ。
Revenge seems like an obvious motive to me. The murderer carefully followed Wadi from the fountain to the new meeting place despite Wadi's precautions. That is cold
あ、
and...
誰だこいつと思ったけど、こいつがワディか。
Excellent. We cannot yet know for certain, but that is a sound psychological analysis. We have an idea of the motive. It is the same motive as that of our 12 would-be murderers on the train. But we still must know who was under that mask.
I think Wadi's killer is also Ratchet's murderer. The motive for both deaths was revenge, and both are related to the Armstrong case through the ransom money.
Exactly. So our murderer is linked to the
だ
Armstrong
んだん
case. The money
真相に
is linked to the Armstrong case. But these glasses that I found in the bag, they must have something to do with this case too.
Right, those glasses mean something to me.
まあこれ、モロのものなんだよね。
Wait, I know. I've seen these. They belong to Suzanne Moreau, little Daisy's nurse. I remember seeing them in her bedroom, but they were gone the day she died.
I remember the press saying that the nurse had committed suicide.
I've always believed otherwise, and the glasses are proof that she was killed by Ratchet or his accomplice. He took those glasses. I always had a gut feeling, but now, Mr. Poirot, now I have proof Suzanne was innocent.
Yes, you do. But the question I ask myself is this. Why did Ratchet keep these glasses?
まあ証拠だろうね。
Ratchet used to leave fake evidence at the scene of his crimes to incriminate others. He did the same thing to frame Suzanne.
Possibly. But keeping an object belonging to his victim as a souvenir of the murder, that is the behavior of a fetishist.
Now that you mention it, in my investigation at the time, I had already found Daisy's hair clip in Ratchet's cabin, and now we find Suzanne's glasses in a bag for Ratchet.
2 objects from 2 victims of Ratchet. He is a trophy hunter.
Okay, we managed to clear up some of the gray areas. What now?
The bag only contained a fraction of the $1 million ransom of the Armstrong case. The rest must still be in a secure place. I will make a wager with you that it is the Banque du Lac in Geneva where Mr. Wadi worked.
Wadi was also the keeper of Ratchet's secrets. They were killed by the same murderer.
Agreed. Well, there is nothing more we can do here except wait for the police. Prepare yourself for a long evening with the police. We have a lot of explaining to do.
And after that,
A visit to Geneva, perhaps?
まだ続きがある。
Here you are at last. I was worried about you.
We just left the police station. We had to explain to the Italian police that we were not murderers.
What? Another murder?
I'll tell you when we're underway. Are all passengers and staff aboard?
Yes, everyone is here. We were waiting for you.
Excellent.
もうこ
Let's
の
not waste
今のショーの
any more
話は
time. We have
あれ
to
でした
make
ね。
a
本当になん
longer
か
than
脱力感
usual
がやばかったです
stop
ね。
in Lausanne.
What? How long?
Long enough to do a little banking in Geneva.
走ってますね。
But this is madness. A 13th murderer of Ratchet?
Mon ami, he was not well liked.
But Monsieur Michel would have seen anyone enter Ratchet's compartment. And there were another 10 people milling about. taking their turn at stabbing him. How could they not notice an uninvited killer?
すみません、完全に飲み物飲もうとして、飲み物を手に持ったんですけど。いや。タバコか
The 13th killer could have acted when Michelle was smoking on the platform at Vinkovsky. But even after the train departed, Michelle was absent from his post at the end of the corridor several times the night of the murder. I must know where he really was and when. Yes, he most certainly returned to the train.
How can you be sure?
It's obvious. I mean, I hope Mr. Poirot agrees.
Please continue, Detective Locke.
駅の方向
While I was chasing him, he was clearly running in the direction of Venice Station, where the Orient Express was waiting.
Very possibly, but it is not much in the way of proof, mademoiselle.
じゃあこれか。
All the passengers and crew are still aboard. If the killer of Mr. Wadi had remained in Venice, we would have noticed right away that someone was missing, and we could have alerted the authorities.
I promise you, I made certain everyone was aboard before we embarked.
Book, calm yourself.
Calm myself? But we're back where we started. There is still another murderer on my train. Wait a moment. Can I change my mind about my verdict? Can we turn everyone over to the police?
Everyone? Including ourselves?
What? No. No. Oh, it's a nightmare.
Let us take it step by step, my friend. We can start by eliminating all of the members
So
of the
on,
Ratchet jury.
じゃあ、外していきましょう。オールソン、シュミット、マックイーン、マスターマン、ドミノコフ、デブナム、かな ?OK。
Et voilà. If we eliminate the 12 jurors, we are left with 7 additional suspects.
7? It's still too many.
I agree. We must reduce our list.
まあやっぱ
Excuse
り、
my impatience, Poirot. It's as if my beautiful
夫
train
人
is
じゃねえかな。
cursed. Can you exonerate any of the 7?
まあ俺らでしょ。
Adequate. Wolf worked hard to get me aboard the train. He is definitely not a suspect.
まあ違うでしょ。
Yes. Mademoiselle Locke cannot be a suspect. She pursued Mr. Wadi's murderer.
コンスタンティン氏も違うでしょ。
Nice. Dr. Constantin alerted me to the 13th stab wound. He is not a suspect. I'm right again. That I have 4 suspects left who I must now examine more closely. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Maury, Monsieur Fauché, and Countess Andrény.
One of my employees? Suspicious?
All 3 got off the train in Venice to restock supplies. Any one of them might have slipped away without being noticed.
I suppose. But what of Countess Andrény? You cleared her yourself.
She is cleared of the first murder, but we know little of her movements here in Venice. So, we still have 4 suspects to interview. Detective Locke?
I can't join you, Poirot. My chief saw something on the news about the case and my involvement. He's demanding an explanation. If I want to keep my badge, I have to call him.
Then you must do so by all means.
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. I understand.
I'll make the call from my compartment. If you're looking for me, I'll be there.
I hate to say this, Poirot, but I must. There is, of course, one other suspect with a motive for murder. The ransom money.
You mean Detective Locke? Then who did she chase? Who killed Aziz? We both saw the masked murderer standing over the body.
ブーがもうすぐ混乱しますね。じゃあ、事情聴取しますか。あれ あ、寝てる。
Doctor, I need to question Countess Andreni.
I'm afraid that won't be possible, Mr. Poirot. The Countess had an anxiety attack when we arrived in Venice. She was terrified the police would come for her and her husband, despite how you concluded your investigation. I had to give her a sedative. She has been sleeping since.
You have stayed with her all the time we were in Venice?
Count Andreni begged me to watch over her. I have not left this room.
You're the reason she's in this state.
Book voted to absolve you all. I accepted his verdict.
I told her. I tried to reason with her. What she has already suffered, the strain of these last few days, was too much.
I understand, Count. It's quite all right. I have the answers I came for.
じゃあ、まあ、フォーシェか、森は違うと思うんで、フォーシェか、ニールセンですかね。あ、いた。
You play well. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you. Many years of piano lessons thanks to my mother. I try to play in a club in Paris when I get the chance, but as you can see, it hasn't made me rich. What can I do for you?
Conversation only. Tell me about your time in Venice.
I had Monsieur Book's permission to see my sister. She lives in Marghera, just outside of Venice. She had a baby a few weeks ago. This was my first chance to meet my new nephew.
Monsieur Book gave you permission?
Yes, you can ask him.
Most assuredly, I will. What time did you leave and when did you return?
I left around 9-10 p.m. I was back by 10:45
短っ、そんなもん
p.m.
な
When
の？
I got back, Hotaru was in a lot of pain. I gave him a back massage.
That would have been enough time to kill Monsieur Wadi and return to the train. May I see your knives?
Of course, they are here.
If you don't mind.
Help yourself. They are under the bar counter.
Tell me again about your poker game the night of the murder.
It's a regular game to help relax after a long day. Let's see, we started around 11 p.m. We took a short break in Minkowski, Hotaru, Pierre, and I. The game finished up around 2 a.m. We'd all had quite a bit to drink. Ah, yes, I left for about 10 minutes to refrigerate champagne for the next day. That must have been around 1 a.m.
None of these come close to the wounds on either body.
じゃあ、森とニールセン。あ、ちょっとブーグにも行きましょうか。
You told Fauché he could go into Venice?
Marghera, actually. Not so far away. It was his only chance to see his sister. He's been working every train for weeks. There is never time to see the new baby.
Enough, Book. Your heart does you credit, but your common sense, it...
I know. But it's fine. Isn't it? He did come back.
Oh, it's fine, as you say. Unless he saw the baby, then killed someone else and returned to the train.
But that's monstrous.
Murder is always monstrous, my friend.
まあまあまあ。あ、いた。
Good evening, Monsieur Mori. May I have a moment of your time? I have a few questions to ask you.
Of course, as long as you don't mind if dinner is ruined.
I promise to be as brief as possible. What did you do while we were stopped in Venice?
With Freya's help, I loaded fresh produce for the next part of our journey. Then, you may not believe this, but my job requires a lot of physical labor. My back suffers. Fortunately, Jean has become quite adept at separating my vertebrae.
As you may know, I have solved the murder of Monsieur Ratchet.
That is a shame.
I beg your pardon?
The bastard sent my steak tartar back, telling
わ、包
John
丁
I
持
was
ち話してる。
bound it.
I will add it to the list of his crimes. One wound on Monsieur Ratchet's body was struck by a very sharp, thin-bladed knife. We haven't found it yet.
You think one of mine was used?
I'd like to have a look if you don't mind.
In that drawer.
An impressive set of knives, but their blades are too wide to have been used for the crime. Tell me about your poker game the night of the murder.
We started around 11 p.m. when John finished his shift. We played until around 2 a.m. From what I remember, it's a bit vague.
You played without a break.
Actually, we did break once for a smoke. John, Pierre, and I. When we stopped in Vinkovsky
When was that?
around midnight.
まあまあ、行きますか。あ、いた。
Good evening, Mademoiselle Nielsen. May I talk to you for a moment?
Of course, Mr. Poirot. I'm not going to bed right away.
Can you tell me your movements while we were stopped in Venice?
That'll be easy. I didn't move much at all. Let's see. I helped Hataru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hataru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Dr. Constantine found a stab wound on Ratchet's body that was caused by a much thinner and sharper blade than the others.
Possibly a chef's knife?
My thought, precisely.
And you'd like to see my knives?
If you wouldn't mind.
I would gladly show you if I had any, but I don't. I use the regular kitchen knives. You may search if you don't believe me.
I see.
All the knives the staff use are in the kitchen or in the lounge, except...
Except
Hotaro prefers to use his own.
まあ、さっき見たからね。
Monsieur Mori doesn't use the kitchen knives.
Not usually. I know he keeps a set of traditional Japanese knives in a box in his room. He doesn't let anyone else use them. Although now that I think of it, he has been using the kitchen knives lately.
Can you tell me exactly about your poker game the night of the murder?
We started around 11 p.m.
なんか、ビンコブスキーみたいな、それがビンコブスになってますね。
Hataru and Pierre went outside to smoke.
翻訳が。
And Hataru got sick around a few minutes past 1 a.m. 1:10 a.m. maybe? He spent about 15 minutes in the bathroom, but he didn't want to quit on a losing streak.
Did his luck improve?
No, so we played to around 2 a.m. He lost every hand.
なるほど。実質の包丁を見たいっすね。お、なんかある。
The box is secured by some sort of locking mechanism. The design is formed by 3 commas.
なんかこれ、陰陽道みたいな。
Japanese. Tamoe.
ともえか。
It's
とも
obviously
え
missing a piece.
ああ、これ、とりあえずいいのか。
But that is Tamoe. And it's obviously missing a piece.
パーツはどこにあるのかな。あ、先見せるに聞き終わったな。
Ah, Michel. I have a few more questions to ask you, if you will allow me.
Anything, Monsieur Poirot. We are in your debt.
Please tell me your movements when we were stopped at Venice Station.
Once the compartments were cleaned and the linen refreshed, I stayed in my quarters.
Did you notice anything special? Comings and goings?
Monsieur Bouc had asked everyone to stay in their compartments. I would occasionally walk the train to ensure everyone was comfortable. Oh, I saw Monsieur Mori was all alone loading his crates of provisions. A great chef like that, reduced to petty labor, I would have helped him. But Monsieur Bouc had ordered me not to leave the train for any reason. So, Monsieur Mori
なんか森が
was
怪しくなってきま
forced
したね。
to labor alone.
Let us review the actual timeline of the night of Ratchet's murder, not the one manufactured to hide your crime.
I left the train in Vinkovsky for a smoke. Then I resumed my post. That was the truth. The train departed on schedule. But then, of course, an avalanche of snow blocked the tracks. At 12:45, Madame Hubbard and I met in her compartment to discuss how to adapt our plan.
Due to the snow and Poirot.
The little play we had staged for you had to be rewritten. I left your compartment at approximately 1:15.
Then the curtain went up. Calls in the night, the red kimono, all from my benefit.
And all for nothing, as it turned out.
Do not blame yourself, Michel. I am the theater critic no playwright wants to see in the audience.
なるほどね。
Talk to everyone, but some elements of the testimonies do not seem to correspond. I need to recheck a few things.
そうね、森がちょっと怪しいですね。森とニールゼンが一緒に手伝ったとか、どうたらこうたらっつったのに、なんか一人でやったとか言ってたりしますね。これとこれは合ってんじゃない？
Think, Poirot.
あ、違う？
That is not a good answer.
これとこれか？
No, not good.
え？これヒントもらいます。どういうこと？あ、これとこれか。オッケーオッケー。ああ、そうですね。これはやりたかったんですけど。森とこれか。
Any of the three staff members had the opportunity to kill Ratchet when Monsieur Michel wasn't watching the hallway. That was easy.
これどうやっても何なんだろう。ちょっとわかんないから、どういう順序でこれやりに行ったんですかね。一人一人が刺したっていうのはわかるんですけど、一人一人が入って刺しに確認せずに刺したってことなんですかね。いやーなんか、これまさかスタッフも全員グルとかそういうオチ？ちょっととりあえず森の包丁。あ、なんか落ちてる。
Black feather. That reminds me of something.
あ、これもう完全にあれじゃん。変装してた羽じゃん。なんだこれ。仕掛け箱みたいなやつだっけ？
It's still locked. I need to move the parts on the side.
え？ちょっとどう動かすの俺？あ、動いた。で、これこう。そういうこと？おし、取れた。来た。マガタマ来た。まあ下から見てみましょう。
Sushi knives.
寿司ナイフ。
Sushi knife. Sushi. Colteria Venezia.
お、別のナイフが入ってる。 これも寿司ナイフ。
Sushi knives. Razor.
よし、聞きましょう。
I'm sorry, Monsieur Mori, but haven't you forgotten something? You haven't told me about the knives hidden in your room.
Ha! Yes, indeed. I forgot to tell you about those. They are my personal knives. I only use these knives. There are none better. I bought them all in Japan. No one is allowed to touch them except me.
自前の包丁。これ嘘です。
I'm afraid you are better at sushi than lying.
What? What do you mean?
これだ。
One of the knives has an inscription Coltelleria Venezia. Did you happen to go shopping tonight, monsieur?
Damn you, Poirot. Very well. One of my sushi knives has been missing since the night of the murder.
なるほど。
I thought you were going to believe I killed Ratchet. He routinely sent back my dishes to be ruined. Why does God give rich people the money to afford the best cuisine, but not the palate to appreciate it? I panic. I know a very good store in Venice. I went to buy a knife to replace the one that had gone missing. So, I wouldn't be
怖いな。
accused. I assure you that I had nothing to do with any murders.
I would have an easier time believing you, monsieur, if you put that knife down.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
What time did you leave on your little shopping trip?
I left around 9:30 p.m. I was back a little after 11:15 p.m.
Time enough to stab Monsieur Wadi and return. Very well, Monsieur Mori. That's all for now. If I have another question,
I'll be right here, cooking.
じゃあニールセンか。
remind me of what you did when the train stopped in Venice.
No problem. I helped Hotaru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hotaru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Mademoiselle, I believe you're hiding the truth from me.
What makes you say that?
ミシェルかな。
Michel saw Monsieur Mori carrying the crates of food alone. You weren't on the platform.
I did help Hotaru.
The entire time? He carried so many crates, his back was sore.
Ah, I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm guilty. I did leave him before we were finished, but I had to. There was no saffron he needed for a recipe. I volunteered to go into Venice and get him some. The Rialto market would be open late because of the carnival. He gave me money. I knew we weren't supposed to leave the train, but I only wanted to help. Mr. Mori can confirm this. Ask him. I saved dinner.
On behalf of my palate, I thank you. How long were you gone?
I left at 9:10 p.m. and was back with the saffron around 11. That's when I called my supplier for the items I was missing.
Miss Nielsen had almost 2 hours to buy the saffron, find a costume, kill Monsieur Wadi, elude Detective Locke, and make it back to the train for that phone call. Yes, it's possible that was
基本的に2時間あればいけるんだ。
Thank you, Mademoiselle Nielsen. That is all for now.
Sorry again, Mr. Poirot. I hope you enjoyed tonight's dessert.
で、これ一通り聞けたのかな。お。まあ、全員だよね。
Et voilà.
まあこの全く関係なかったこのスタッフ3人衆が 最後に関わるっていう、なんかそういうとこがよくできてますね。追跡、ベネチアの追跡パートとかマジでいらなかったですけど、ちょっとあの辺はなんかここで言うのもあれですけど、多分だいぶカットする気がしますね。で、ロックはどこにいんだ？お、来た来た。
What have you been doing, Poirot? I am completely in the dark.
I will shine some light on the situation, my friend. I have 3 new suspects who could have killed Ratchet and Monsieur Wadi. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Fauché, and Monsieur Maury. They all had periods of time during both murders to commit the deed, and their alibis are weak. A visit to family, and not 1, but 2 shopping trips.
But all are my employees.
Alas, yes, my dear book. But we have no proof against any of them. None of the 3 appears to have any motive whatsoever.
But this is a tragedy.
Do not give up hope. We will catch this murderer. There is still one place that may hold the evidence we need.
Geneva.
Exact.
Do not give up hope? Well, that's easy for you to say. But what if it's Freya? What becomes of dessert? If it's Sotaru, who will cook? Me? And the worst, if it's Jean, who will serve the drinks?
I've been checking up on the Banque du Lac. I had to confirm my identity for Interpol, so they contacted my captain at the Berkshire Police.
I suspect he was not pleased.
That my vacation was actually an unofficial investigation? I'll say.
I would be happy to speak to him on your behalf.
Thank you. But he'll get over it. It's a chance to close the books on the Armstrong kidnapping. He stopped yelling, asked for a report, then granted me an extra week.
Excellent. What did you learn
Banque
from
du Lac.
Interpol about the Banque du Lac?
It's had a bad reputation for over a century. Customers have included the mafia, Nazis, corporate swindlers of every description, even heads of state.
It is true, this. It is the worst kept secret in banking. They take advantage of the bank's strict policy of protecting the anonymity of its clients. This is in defiance of many laws from multiple countries, including Switzerland itself. Of course, I have never taken advantage of such a corrupt system.
That goes without saying, my friend.
There are ongoing investigations, subpoenas, court orders. The bank will eventually have to comply, or its assets may be seized. But until then, it still thrives, thanks to its wealthy and powerful clients.
It sounds perfect for the late Monsieur Ratchet. Do you have any ideas?
The serial numbers from some of the bills match those from the Armstrong kidnapping. We agreed in Venice that the bulk of the money must still be physically in the bank's vault.
I concur, Detective Locke. Exemplary work. So, our next task is clear. We need to get into Ratchet's safety deposit box.
There will be codes, passwords.
And Monsieur Wadi would, of course, have known them all. The bag of money he carried is proof of that.
We'll need to find information about Ratchet's box in Wadi's office at the bank.
Most assuredly, but
なんか
remember
あれだな
the secrecy involved. I
すごい
doubt
遠回り
this
する
office
な
will contain all we need. Where else must we dig?
日記か
I must admit I'm not right. There was nothing helpful in Ratchet's diary.
マックに聞いたか
I think Mr. McCool
ワディの住居か
My little gray cells did not.
Mr. Wadi couldn't keep all of his secrets at the bank. Hopefully we'll find something in his apartment.
So
We
no-
already have his address thanks to his passport, and his keys we retrieved from his body.
The train stops in Lausanne at 8 a.m. But that's far from Geneva. I can delay the departure until 11 a.m. No later. The police are expecting us in Paris by the end of the afternoon at the latest. They won't tolerate any delay.
The bank doesn't open until 9. I can see only one way that gives us a chance to be on time.
ボート
Ferries travel between Lausanne and Geneva, but it would take over 3 hours.
これもなんかもう
We can't depend on finding a faster boat. Better to take a taxi and pray traffic is light. The The best thing
これ
is to separate.
あれ
One of
か
us searches his
調べる
apartment,
パートがあるの
the
か
other
な。ちょ
searches
っ
his
とそれ
office.
とあれ
To
ですね
access the safety deposit box, we need to find the key, the box number, and the passcode.
Suppose you find all this. How do you plan to get into the vault?
なりすます
We are going to use the bank's anonymity policy to our advantage.
And the quickest way is for you to impersonate Ratchet.
I would rather impersonate Jack the Ripper, but in the interest of justice, I will do it.
We need to find the account number.
Along with everything else.
I will say I want access to the vault. They don't ask for papers or even names. The vault information is enough.
I'm not hearing any of this. I run a trade company. I don't rob banks.
Perfect. Let's recap the plan.
なんか変な方向に進んでんな。このラチェットを刺した犯人がもう正直知りたいんですけど、すっごい遠回しになってるな。まあ、タクシーでジュネーブに行く。銀行でお茶屋は最後かな。あ、じゃあ手分けする。こうか。
This is wrong, but I'm never far from.
タクシーでジュネーブ行く。銀行で落ち合う。これか？ OK。
That's the right answer.
To sum up, we're going by taxi to Geneva. Then we'll split up. You're going to search Mr. Wadi's apartment. I'll search the office at the bank. When we have all the information we need, you pretend to be Ratchet, and we can finally find out what Ratchet is keeping hidden in his safety deposit box.
It sounds impossible.
Not for Detective Joanna Locke and Hercule Poirot.
We should get some rest.
You are right, Detective. We face our greatest challenge tomorrow. Together.
Nine o'clock. Our driver did well. It took barely an hour to get here from Lausanne.
But we must conclude our business in 1 hour as well. Book can only hold the train until 11 o'clock.
1 hour to find the key of Ratchet's safety deposit box, the box number, and its passcode. A lot to ask.
Indeed. Which is why we must split our forces. I will take the cab to Monsieur Wadi's address. You must search his office.
I have you on speed dial. And thank you, Mr. Poirot,
For what, mademoiselle?
for trusting me.
うわぁ、操作パートか。これ操作パートあるかな。操作パートあるそうだから、一回切ろうかな。うん。一回これ切ります。ちょっと思ったより長いですね。もうなんか正直すごい打足感がやばいんですけど、ちょっと一応結末まで迎えようかなって思います。なんかもう容疑者の12人、そこの衝撃で13人目っていうのが、まあ早く知りたいのになんかすげえ遠回しにやってくるんで、まあちょっとあれかなって感じするんですけど、一旦ここで切りましょう。じゃあちょっとまた、ちょっとね、思ったより長くやっちゃって、少し休憩挟んで、また続きやろうかなって思います。はい。というわけで、また次回に。多分次回最終回かなって気がします。では。